More arrests at Broadview ICE Detention Center. ICE agents take time for a photo op at the Bean downtown. A provision makes certain THC products illegal. Plus, the Bears' revenge game in Minnesota. Michael Jordan and the new shoe release. And a new comet discovery raises questions. This is your Fox 32 Week in Review.
A federal judge ordered the release of detainees who have been picked up as a result of Operation Midway Blitz, starting today with about 13 people. Before those people could be released, more people are being handcuffed out at the Broadview ICE Processing Center as a result of protests.
Yeah, we've been speaking to Roseanne Taylor, so we're going to bring in live here all morning long. Things were calm out there when we spoke to you in about the 9 o'clock hour of Good Day, but it looks like in the last half an hour or so, things definitely took a turn. So, Roseanne, you've been out there all morning. What changed?
Well, I'll tell you, a day that started with song and prayer and a lot of hopefulness and excitement about the potential release of these detainees, as you said, within an hour turned into people being arrested. What I could see from behind this big crowd was just a sort of a surge, a crowd surge. And before you knew it, you saw Broadview police, and they began to pull people from the crowd. I can't say that I saw exactly what led to the arrest of the particular people I saw, but we saw at least 4 people handcuffed, many of them tossed on the ground, held down as they were handcuffed, and carted off. I will say that earlier today, I understand that typically the crowd is on either side of the street, and you could probably see that from our shot. There's the road in the middle right now filled with police is usually clear. But earlier today, for some reason, the people on the area on the right was closed off. So what we had was everybody cramming into the small space on the left, and then finally they opened the other side and people began to move. But we noticed that the crowd wasn't as big as it typically is on the right side. There were still a lot of people on this other side. So with that said, it was just an area that was really, really full. All of a sudden you saw crowd surges. And as I said, we have those shots of people being pulled out by officers, handcuffed, and taken away. So again, it was a day that started with a lot of excitement, even though we don't know where those detainees that Anita mentioned will be released. They have been spread out all over the country. There was hope that maybe some would be released here from Broadview. We never saw any of that. And in fact, many said if anybody was being released from Broadview, we would most likely not see them. In the past, they have taken them to gas stations or sort of random places and dropped them off when people have been released. That was the case with an Oak Park trustee that testified before Judge Gettleman, and or I believe that was Judge Ellis. So many court cases to cover, it's getting confusing. But at any rate, we don't know what will happen with all of those detainees, but people are very excited that is happening, and it could lead to hundreds of releases because, of course, these people were arrested without a warrant. That was the gist of it, that they should be arrested with a warrant, and they had no criminal history, so the judge ruled that they should be released.
Hundreds of uniformed and masked ICE agents converging on one of Chicago's most popular tourist attractions today.
Sylvia Perez joins us now with more on that.
Yeah, it was quite the scene this morning, bright and early, just after Millennium Park opened, that hundreds of Border Patrol agents converged at the Bean. These pictures were taken by a Block Club Chicago photographer who was originally on the scene to capture shots of the city's first snowfall. Reporter John Hansen says that photographer didn't expect to see what happened next.
Around 6:30 in the morning, he noticed Monroe, right downtown, was filled with vehicles, undercover SUVs. And just after 7 a.m., dozens of agents came out of those vehicles, many with their large firearms that you can see in the photos right there. And they went up to Cloudgate, or the Bean as we know it, and essentially took photos. Gregory Bavino, of course, the head of the Department of Border Patrol, was there as well. They posed for these pictures. These are Collins photos that you can see in here. And they said 1, 2, 3, say Little Village on 3 instead of cheese. And Little Village, of course, the neighborhood where there was a tear gassing incident over the weekend.
Now, Governor Pritzker reacting on social media tonight, writing, quote, "Making fun of our neighborhoods and communities is disgusting. Greg Bavino and his masked agents are not here to make Chicago safer. As children are tear gassed and U.S. citizens detained, they are posing for photo ops and producing reality TV moments." Now, it's believed these pictures will be used on social media, and this isn't the first time Bovino and his agents have used Chicago landmarks as photo ops for social media. They've also appeared in front of the Trump Tower and took pictures holding guns as they cruised the Chicago River. A weekend food drive in Oak Park took an unexpected turn this weekend, and neighbors say federal agents showed up during the event, causing fear and forcing families to leave early.
Leslie Moreno's live in that neighborhood with how this all unfolded and what the community is doing to keep each other safe. Leslie?
Hey guys, good evening. Yeah, I just spoke with a woman who says it all happened here behind me in the 800 block of North Elmwood. She says this all happened on Saturday morning. She explained to me that children were in this area and they heard that terrifying moment as ICE agents pulled up in a nearby alley here near this neighborhood. The Oak Park Police Department also confirming it responded to at least 5 reports of ICE activity in Oak Park Saturday morning. They're telling us between 8:56 a.m. and 9:37 a.m. According to Oak Park Police, by the time officers arrived to the scene, federal agents were already gone. That resident I spoke to says they were completely caught off guard when federal agents showed up during what was supposed to be a simple Girl Scout food drive. Witnesses tell me they watched as several vehicles pulled up in federal agents appeared in full-blown tactical gear in the days since, though. Community members have been organizing what they're calling a whistle brigade. So people have essentially been handing out whistles, alerting people to sound the alarm if they believe immigration agents are in the area. The idea, they say, is to keep the community safe, to hopefully avoid any confrontation. Now, in terms of what this community is planning on doing about this, they do tell me, residents here, that they are planning on bringing this up at the next village meeting.
Civil rights activist Reverend Jesse Jackson is in the hospital this morning.
Roseanne is live with the latest now on his condition. Roseanne?
Well, we understand, according to our sources, that he is here at Northwestern Memorial Hospital, and this is related to his neurodegenerative condition that he's been dealing with for quite some time. Now, he was initially diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. That was back in 2017, but doctors later said he's actually been battling progressive supranuclear palsy. Now, if you look this up, it's described as a rare brain disorder that affects movement, balance, and eye control. It can lead to falls and difficulty speaking and swallowing, and that is certainly what we've seen, from the Reverend Jackson in recent years. We don't know his condition this morning, but he is 84 years old, and we have seen less and less of him in recent years due to his condition. So this morning, there is just great concern for this beloved civil rights leader who is, from Chicago, but obviously national name, known internationally, and just a lot of worry about his condition this morning. So we're keeping an eye on things here at Northwestern and hoping for the best for the Reverend Jesse Jackson. We'll keep you updated if we hear any new information about his condition.
This was a surprise provision thrown in there, Terrence and Sylvia, at the last minute. The products like these drinks or Delta 8 vapes are all sold in convenience stores across Chicago and the region now. And that's because a loophole in a farm bill that passed years ago left out any regulations. So these businesses started operating in legal limbo. They popped up. They started selling their drinks all over the place, while state and city lawmakers tried and failed to put any regulations on them. Now, thanks to provision in the bill to reopen the government, those businesses will have 1 year from yesterday to cease operations, as their products will be illegal. Now, Charles Wu is the owner of a store called Shitiva. It's in Bucktown in the South Loop. He says his businesses are now thrown for a loop.
This stuff is in everyday society. It's not going to go away, right? So instead of having honest business people who are willing to be regulated, it's going to push it into some gray market or other thing, because the consumers have obviously spoken, and there's hundreds, if not thousands, of businesses just in Chicago alone.
So the debate over regulation of these hemp products has been smoldering for years. Opponents have long said the federal ban will be good for health and public safety. They've argued that without regulation, they were dangerous. It's impossible to know what exactly is in them or how high a concentration of the THC that gets someone high is in there. Not to mention legal cannabis businesses. They were incensed that they paid millions to comply with a strict regulatory apparatus while these other businesses seem to get off scotch-free. And the city had budgeted new hemp taxes that would have helped the budget deficit with an estimated $10 million in revenue. That's all out the window now. Second Ward Alderman Brian Hopkins, who has long tried to ban hemp, says he's glad the bill passed, but the process of dismantling an entire industry will be very complicated.
We're expecting some guidance from the FDA. We're possibly even hopeful that we'll get some federal assistance to jurisdictions like Illinois that have a thriving legal cannabis industry. We need help. We can't do this overnight. We can't just purge the shelves of gas stations and mini marts of these illegal products. And we're going to need to hire regulators and enforcers, and there's a cost to that. So we went from thinking that we were going to make money on this by taxing it. Now we're going to have to spend money because it's a government expense to try to regulate these products out of existence. But public safety demands that we do that.
Now, Governor Pritzker has come out against hemp-derived weed products as well. He wanted the state to ban them. They did not get that done. So it doesn't seem like statewide legalization is in the cards for these businesses. What will have to be sorted out is the hemp products that still remain legal. Anything that makes clothes or other materials, you can still use hemp for that. Just deriving a product that gets you high, that is going to be illegal.
The St. Sabina Service Center, one of the only food pantries open 5 days a week, and there was a line outside the door starting at 9 a.m. as they waited for the doors to open, a familiar sight during this lapse in benefits, but still the need is great. Illinois officials say they expect full SNAP food assistance to begin flowing today. Nearly 2 million people in the state rely on the SNAP program to buy groceries. They will receive the full benefits by November 20th. Food pantries across the Chicago area, like St. Sabina, were unable to match the need created by the $350 million lapse in monthly federal funding for people and families across the state. Illinois Department of Human Services said in a statement yesterday, in part, the crisis was entirely avoidable. The Trump administration had the funding to fully support SNAP, but chose not to, putting tens of millions of Americans at risk of hunger, end quote. The White House didn't respond for a comment. We spoke to Tim Allison, an executive director here at St. Sabina Social Service Center. He says the last handful of weeks have been pretty overwhelming.
The people still are in need. They need our service, and SNAPs is not enough for a lot of families, so that's where we come in at. So we're here for the community. So anyone that needs service, they can come to us.
Tim said before the lapse in benefits, they served about 150 to 200 people, and during the lapse, they served double that amount, meaning that the shelves are not as stocked right now as they'd like them to be. There's no meat in the freezer today, but they're working to get everything that families need. They're asking the community to step up as they recover and as they continue to offer services. Gabriela Primus, Fox 32, Chicago.
Coming up, the Bears get ready to tackle the Vikings. New revelations about accusations of racism in Aurora. And plane travel slowly gets back to normal.
Chicago Blackhawks, they're getting off to a hot start this season. We were talking about this the other day.
Yeah.
Connor Bedard looking like one of the best forwards in the game. Blackhawks are going to host their first centennial celebration night against Toronto tomorrow night. First 8,000 fans at the UC will get one of these. Very cool, right?
There he is. A celebration to honor Hawks' original starts tomorrow at 3:30. Exhibits in the atrium. This is the Tony Esposito bobblehead. One of the first goalies who, and Luke can confirm this, who had the butterfly style. He was also left-handed,
Wow.
which a lot of people weren't aware of. But he was truly one of the great Blackhawks, one of the great NHL players of all time.
Mike, when I grew up, for Christmas, my dad went to Gunzo's. Remember Gunzo's supplied all the equipment, and he picked me up, the pads, the sweater, and I was a Blackhawk player, but I was Lou Angotti.
Oh,
remember
sure,
Lou Angotti?
absolutely, on defense, sure.
But man, when I used to play, we used to freeze Colmar Avenue in Oak Lawn.
Okay.
Dave Wills and I, Dave, who was the voice of the Rays here in Chicago, unfortunately passed away, was my best friend. Dave and I and a bunch of kids in the Oak Lawn neighborhood would freeze Colmar or Knox where he lived. And when I played goalie, I was Tony Espo, okay? I loved Esposito. We had season tickets for the Hawks at the old Chicago Stadium. Pitt Martin, you challenged me.
That's right. Pitt Martin, Jim Pappin, Dennis Hall.
He said, oh, yeah, if you're a real Hawks fan, what was Martin's
Come on,
number? I'm
Derek.
like, dude, seven, of course.
Attaboy.
Stan Mikita, all the guys. Man, I am the biggest hockey fan out there.
Okay.
There hasn't been much to cheer about, but I am so happy that the Hawks are starting to turn it
right
around.
direction, yeah.
I was at the game a couple of weeks ago against Ottawa. Man, they are playing well. They lost a tough one to the Devils the other night in overtime.
They got a point.
They got a point in overtime. But Bedard is starting to bust out, man.
He is.
Warning to the
Year
rest of
number
the
3.
NHL, here comes the kid.
We're coming. Speaking of kids, our Bears looking pretty good so far, taking on the Vikings on the road this weekend. We saw what happened when we opened up against them at the beginning of the season.
Should've won that game.
What do you think that we could take from that game and maybe apply now that we're seeing them a second time?
You know, I got my arms folded like this. Okay. I don't want to hear about the opener.
Don't be glum. Don't be glum.
I don't want to hear about the opener. Bears are a different team. And I'm not lying. Okay. Bears couldn't run the football at the beginning of the season. Not just against Minnesota. First 4 games, they could not run the football. Ben Johnson took advantage of the bye week after week 4, okay? Sat down, didn't go to the Caribbean to take some time away from the game, sat down with his coaching staff and said, for my offense to work, we need to run the football effectively. The offensive line has come together. They've been blessed with good health, let's be honest here. And they're finding holes now for guys like DeAndre Swift, Kyle Monangai. Bears, guys, over 900 rushing yards the last 5 weeks.
Wow.
They haven't put together a run threat like that, Mike, since Walter Payton was in the backfield back in 1986. They did in 20. If you really dig, if you're out there and you're like, Canellis, you're wrong. 2022, they ran the football like this. Yeah, Justin Fields had most of the rushing yards.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so that's just not real. Yeah. This is a real running offense right now. Don't forget, in Detroit, Ben Johnson's offense worked best when he had Sonic and Knuckles going at it. All right, David Montgomery, the former Bear, Jahmyr Gibbs in that backfield. He's got his version right now of Sonic and Knuckles.
Ooh. All right, what's Brian Flores going to dial up defensively then to try and stop that run?
Well, they're going to number one, try to stop the run, and they're going to keep an eye on Caleb Williams. Mike, Caleb Williams is driving the rest of the NFL crazy right now.
These spinorama moves that he does?
Well, you can't pull him down because what happens is, as a defense or a defensive end or a linebacker who's a pass rusher, you realize, man, his base is strong. Even if you wrap him up, he ain't going down. Okay, you need to get 2 guys to pull him down. If you play man-to-man defense on him, now your defensive backs are running out, and they've got their backs to Caleb Williams. So if he starts to take off, you don't know he's taking off. If you play zone defense against Caleb Williams and rush only 4, and the Bears keep 5 or 6 in the block, they're going to make room for him, holes. So Caleb Williams is driving defenses crazy right now. I don't care what Brian Flores draws up, because no coach in the NFL has had more success against a Brian Flores defense than Ben Johnson, who averaged over 30 points a game when he was offensive coordinator in Detroit. Forget about the opener. It's time to go at it. It's going to be tough, man.
It is.
Hostile environment. People keep asking me, are the Bears a playoff team? They need to win 4 of their last 8 games. And even 10 wins might not get them in. Seattle won 10 last year and didn't get into the playoffs, okay? They need to win 4. They need to win this game.
And then very quickly, running out of time here.
I got the Bears.
Jaquan Brisker didn't practice this week.
That's my greatest
concern?
worry. You didn't ask me about the Bears defense. My greatest worry is the Bears defense in this game.
Still a mass unit.
Okay?
Yeah.
No, I mean, we haven't learned yet that Jaquan Brisker isn't playing for sure, but Brisker hasn't practiced all week. T.J. Edwards hasn't practiced all week. No Kyler Gordon, no Jalen Johnson, Justin Jefferson, and Jordan Addison, who didn't play in the season opener because of a suspension.
am I enough? Like, what did I do to deserve this?
That question is the aftermath. 18-year-old Brooke Williams says 2 teammates targeted him with racial slurs and a George Floyd reference inside a house off campus in August. Aurora University's investigation found his account credible and confirmed he faced a hostile environment on the basis of race. Brooke stayed on the team during the process. The 2 accused players stayed too.
The coach told them just go in there and be humble, and it'll blow over is what he told them. It's in the report.
The university issued its first sanction after that. The 2 players were suspended for the rest of the season. But before that decision came down, the family says the retaliation had already started. Brooke says his plays were skipped in film sessions. Some of his gear went missing. He left weeks later and lost his scholarship.
He shut down for a while after this.
It's dimmed his light a little bit.
He's in therapy, which is huge.
To understand how that kind of hurt can follow someone, we turn to Dr. Derek Brooms.
It's a level of frustration, and at the same time, it's not necessarily a surprise. This is what we see in a good deal of the research literature.
He leads the Black Men's Research Institute at Morehouse College and studies how Black students move through college life. Online, many ask why Brooke didn't just tough it out. Dr. Brooms says what some call toughness can also be damage.
Football is a space where we talk about things like, this is a family.
They push that a lot, that it's a brotherhood. I didn't feel like it was a brotherhood at all.
If we're all in it together, why am I being singled out? And not singled out based on my ability, which would still be problematic, but clearly on my race and ethnic background. It creates mistrust. It creates a lack of safety.
Others ask why no other Black players came forward. Dr. Broom says that does not cancel out what Brooke shared.
We all are on our own journeys and pathways. There may be other players who may have experienced something like this. We don't know what they've experienced, and we can't question them on why they didn't speak up.
Instead of focusing on who did not speak up, sociologists and campus psychologists say students look at their own risk. If this can happen to Brooke, it can happen to me. Researchers call that healthy paranoia or cultural mistrust.
There's this sense of I need to actually prepare myself for potentially challenging, stressful, psychologically challenging experiences.
Brooke plans to enroll somewhere new in January. His credits won't transfer because Aurora is a private university. His mom says she wants campuses to center care and accountability.
No child should have to go through this at all.
So what can parents do? Dr. Broom says start with 3 basics.
We have to inform our children about some of the realities that continue to exist in our society. We have to ensure that our young people understand self-love. The third thing is self-advocate.
And this does not only affect Black students. Dr. Broom says he sees the same patterns with Latino, Asian, first-generation, queer, and low-income students too, who feel on the outside.
It is rife within higher education. If we don't put mechanisms and supports in place, it can be fertile ground for some very hard, harmful, disturbing experiences that people carry with them long after college, and may lead to attrition.
The university says federal privacy laws limit what it can share. It says every report is reviewed and action follows when there are policy violations. The appeal decision shows the 2 players must complete racial sensitivity training and can return in January.
We need education for folks to understand that these types of behaviors continue to perpetuate the harm that have existed in this country for decades. So sensitivity training, sure, and then what? Is it a check off because I went? Yeah. Because then there's no accountability for what I supposedly had learned. So what are the follow-up steps?
And without real follow-through, Brooks's mom says the aftermath lands on her son as a question about his worth.
You go to school to get an education and to have fun and to gain lifelong friends, not to now have mental health issues or things like that because of what was said to you and you did nothing to deserve it.
Dr. Broom says harm does not end when an investigation ends, and he says institutions often address the moment but not the impact that follows. The family says they are considering legal action and have been in touch with the NAACP.
Well, not that. Let's start with some of the numbers. Right now, we're currently seeing 96 cancellations within the last 24 hours here at O'Hare. And then over on our southwest side, there's been 20 cancellations in the last 24 hours at Midway. Now, we know that our 2 local airports were part of the 40 affected high-impact airports in the U.S. that had airline traffic cut by 10%. Well, our headline today is that we are still stuck with freezing flight reductions at 6% amid a rapid decline in air traffic controller callouts. Now, flight reductions were initially implemented as airports and air traffic control towers suffered significant staffing shortage caused by this government shutdown. But still, the transportation official said the staffing levels have improved, as there were only 4 staffing triggers yesterday compared to 81 on November 8th. That was Saturday. Still, safety needs to be a priority, so that 6% freeze will remain in place until the FAA can confirm it is safe to return to normal operations. Now, the DOT did not specify when it will end the restrictions entirely, though it said it anticipates doing so when conditions at the airports allow it. According to the new emergency order, international flights are exempt, but the order allows airlines to cancel them voluntarily and count the revenue towards that required 6% cut. Flights must be canceled, though, 4 days in advance if they're international. There are complaints coming from every which way. Pilots have been complaining that controllers are being less responsive and more stressed because of their overwhelming workload. But it remains unclear how many controllers were absent during the shutdown. The DOT and FAA haven't published those totals. Overall, things are looking better here at O'Hare. There are reports coming in that officials say that pre-shutdown normalcy will be restored roughly a week after the funding lapse ends. So we're going to go around, talk to some people who are getting hopefully on their flight on time and it's not canceled. They should know ahead of time and see what they have to say about this now still 6% freeze that we're seeing.
Coming up, Eddie Murphy tells us about the documentary on his life, Michael Jordan and a new shoe release, and a Chicago sandwich institution celebrates 50 years.
I want to show them that I'm not like anybody in this town. I'm everybody in the scene and everything in between.
We amplified black talent.
He changed the world. Not just American culture, he changed the world.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
One of the greatest ever.
It's all about my children. Pursue peace of mind. If you get that, then you got it all.
Man, oh man, he's one of the greatest comedians of all time. Only sat down with one station in town. Jake got the Chicago exclusive interview with the icon, Eddie Murphy.
You know what's so funny? I'm always sort of interested, because I geek out about a lot of these guys, and I'm always curious as to who in the newsroom.
Oh, I geek out over Eddie.
Eddie Murphy tends to be one of the people I've seen everyone to geek out about, which is kind of cool. I've been lucky enough to have interviewed the guy more than a dozen times over the last 20 years. He's never been as open as he was here, because there's this new documentary starts streaming on Netflix today. Tells the story of his whole life. It's called Being Eddie. Now, this doc sort of looks back over the life and legacy of his career from his early days as a kid, trying to make his family laugh, to becoming one of pop culture's greatest, most iconic comedians ever. And when we sat down, I started out talking about one of my favorite Eddie Murphy facts ever. I don't know if you knew this. In 50 years of SNL history, did you know he is the only person to ever host the show while he was still a member of the cast? In 50 years of SNL, you're the only person to ever host while you were a member of the cast. I'd love to know what you remember about that. It was Nick Nolte dropped out at the last minute.
Nick got sick at the last moment and I had to fill in.
When Nick got here and got off the plane, he vomited on my shirt.
I remember it causing there was anarchy behind the scenes. Everybody, because Saturday Night Live is super, 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 super competitive. So everybody is on, how much time I'm going to be on the show. And it wasn't just that I hosted the show. I said, it's the only time ever, because the show starts off with live from New York. It's Saturday night. It's the only time in the history of the show I said, live from New York, it's the Eddie Murphy Show.
Live from New York, it's the Eddie Murphy Show.
And the cast was like, oh my God, I can't believe he said that. Oh, all this shit was going on.
Was that not scripted? You said that in the...
Yeah, I said that live, and it sent ripples through the hallway. It was like, he's out of control.
You talk a little bit of in this movie about a movie that I love, that I remember my parents taking me to go see opening weekend in theaters, which is Vampire in Brooklyn.
Put a little heart into it. Did I talk about it? You just said. I said, you know where you're going, Lil. I was being trying to be self-deprecating and kind of funny, but I literally watched Vampire in Brooklyn 2-3 days ago.
Did you really?
Yeah, and it holds up. It holds. You know, lots of times you'll do a movie and when it comes out, it just doesn't live up to people's expectations, and then years later, you know, it's like, hey, you know what movie was like that? Harlem Nights. When I did Harlem Nights, when it first came out, the critics ripped me so bad, and it was, oh, hell, it sucks. So I didn't watch Harlem Nights for like 10 years, and it's the only movie I directed. Then one day I was on, I watched it, and was like, hey, this movie's not that bad, and now I love it.
We were just saying, Harlem Nights is great.
Yeah.
Streaming now on Netflix. And I do think there's an interesting lesson in there. We pay so much attention into what did well at the box office. Oh, this bombed at the box office. And it's been 30 years since Harlem Nights, and now we're regarding it as a great, it's just a nice reminder that sometimes things take time. You know? It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah. It was
Bombed at the box
not
office.
received well at all when it first came out.
What are you going to do? Yeah, thanks, guys.
Oh, Eddie.
All right. Well, we're about 48 hours away from one of the biggest sneaker releases in recent memory. We're talking about the Jordan 1 Low OG Chicago. Co-owners of Success Sneaker Boutique in the South Loop, Lavelle Sykes and Bobby Simmons, they're here to talk about this exclusive drop. It is so good to see you, brothers. Thanks so much for being here.
Well, thanks for having us.
All right. Now, the last time that these dropped was back in 2016. Why is this one of the must-have shoes for sneakerheads?
It's the Retro 1 Chicago. It's an iconic shoe. It's a shoe that Jordan that made Chicago, honestly. So Retro 1 is one of the dopest silhouettes that been out since Jordan started his sneaker collection.
Yeah, so we realized that even with the OG High, how it was most sold out for everyone in Chicago.
Why do you think it's been so hard for people to get their hands on these shoes specifically?
It has been made since 2016. When it came out the first time, it was real limited. So they only made a limited amount of pairs. And this time, they elevated the material on the shoe. They made it much better. It's going to be a more harder shoe to get this time than ever this time.
And speaking of being able to get the shoe, tell us about your event that you guys have coming up.
Well, we have a collaboration with Brand Jordan and Harold's that we're doing on Michigan Avenue, right by our retail space. And it's going to be exciting. We're doing it for the community. We're doing it for the city of Chicago, to make sure that, one, you get your sneaker, and then you get a success pack as well.
Yes.
What comes with that success pack?
A success pack could be a customized T-shirt, Brand Jordan T-shirt with Success and Harold Chicken collaboration, a free 4-piece, mild sauce pepper, how you want it, and also some dope sneaker shoestrings come with it.
It doesn't get too much more Chicago than that. We're talking about the Low OG 1 Chicago's and Harold's Chicken.
Yes.
Speaking of Jordans, right? We did a story a couple of months ago talking about the Air Jordan 1s. Where do these particular shoes, I guess, rank in your rankings of Jordans?
Oh, the low is like, the Retro 1 is like number to me is number 2. I like 3s, but he's a 1 guy, so he has ones on now. So
I keep one on. Dress it up, dress it down, especially in the corporate world, you know. Be more fashionable and be a little more appealing with your outfits now.
Now, if somebody's looking to get their hands on these Saturday, is there a strategy that somebody, because I'm sure the line is going to be out the door.
Show up at 11 o'clock at Harold 71 on 22nd in Michigan, 11 o'clock a.m. to 4 o'clock p.m. We have the shoes releasing and sneakers and chicken.
And what would you say, I guess, sets apart your sneaker boutique from others, not just in Chicago, but all over the country as well?
I think it is, we're just more like a family. Like, we're a lifestyle brand. We're from Chicago, made in Chicago. We never left Chicago to make it. And me and Bobby, been in his NBA career, we never left Chicago. So we always stay true to our roots. And that makes us different than any other brand, any other store, any city, because we are from this space and we love our city.
And also adding the customer service space as well.
Yes.
That's more important than being more personable with the customers, get to know them, their families, and things like that. And it's a long, sought-out relationship.
You guys were just doing that off camera. Everybody's shoe size in here for sure. These particular shoes, what do you think that they mean to the city of Chicago?
I think it means a lot. You know, it's a staple. And when it comes to the Jordan 1 as a whole, I think that like 84, 85, a lot of people didn't get them. Mm-hmm. So now, with it even being cut to a low, it's more universal. So now it gives a lot of access to just dress it up, and then not on that, like you said, just get your hands on it.
And I think like Chicago Low is like the Jordan 1 in Chicago silhouette. It's like one of the best silhouettes to go with anything. You can dress it up or down, like Bobby said. But but it's Jordan. That means you see retro wing, think of Michael Jordan, and that was one of the greatest players ever to play basketball in the world, the best ever. So
why do you think the experience of getting the shoes in person is so much better than, I guess, trying to try your luck on the sneakers app?
It's thrill of the hunt. Just the fact of me being a sneakerhead all my life, being in sneakers business 30 years. It's just like I've seen customers. It's the passion, the love. It's the camaraderie it's on camaraderie. Sneakers are about camaraderie, friendship, relationships with our sneakers. It really, really is.
And the best feeling is when they open up, the first thing they do is
smell it. They smell it. Everybody smells a sneaker. I don't know how, but they smell a sneaker.
They smell them.
They take a sneaker.
Like money, right?
Get the rubbing and touching them. They get the rubbing and touching and looking at them. It'd be like they'd be excited to hit their hands on them.
All right. And where can people get in line to get these on Saturday again?
You can line up at 11 o'clock a.m. at Harris 71 on 22nd in Michigan, in that successor store, 2214 South Michigan Avenue.
All right. Appreciate both of your time.
Thank you.
Good luck to everybody trying to get their hands on these this weekend. All right.
You can't get more patriotic than the bald eagle here at Brookfield Zoo, Chicago. We are here with President and CEO Dr. Mike to learn all about it. We're also celebrating Native American Heritage Month at the zoo. We're going to talk a little bit more about that with the bald eagle in just a second.
That's right. So our national bird, and just an incredible success story from conservation. So this is a species that we almost lost. We were down to 400 pairs of breeding bald eagles in the United States, and today have recovered that population up to over 70,000 pairs. They're back in these areas. You can see them wild. We have seen wild bald eagles through the zoo here. So just really wonderful to see this species recovered.
Now these this pair was injured, and that's how they ended up at the zoo.
That's right. So most of the bald eagles that you see in zoos today were rehab birds. Both of ours had wing injuries. They were not able to be released back into the wild, and so we're able to provide a forever home here at the zoo, and they both are doing great.
Now I hear they call them bald eagles. Obviously they're not bald, but they have white feathers that maybe look like they don't have anything on the top of their heads.
So when you see them up in a tree or off in the distance, that white head kind of makes them look like they've lost the feathers. That's not something that you see in a bald eagle until they're a few years old. So when they're young, you actually see them with that dark plumage or dark feathers on their whole body, similar to a golden eagle that has that dark coloration through all of their feathers. And then as they mature, they have that white head come into play.
Very sacred to the Native American community.
Correct.
And anytime these birds lose their feathers, you are able to contribute.
That's right. So they're protected under a number of different federal laws and close partnership programs with United States Fish and Wildlife Service and the National Bald Eagle Feather Repository. So any feathers that are dropped by our birds are shipped off to that repository, and that's accessible to Native Americans for cultural purposes to be able to access those feathers.
Now, are they out all year round?
They are, yeah.
Okay.
So they tolerate the coldest weather that Chicago can throw at them, and really, we see northern range of bald eagles all the way up to basically the end of the tree line in Alaska and northern Canada.
Well, come see them here at Brookfield Zoo, Chicago.
And they are known as the original sub sandwich of Chicago. And for their unapologetically original ads, of course, we're talking about Mr. Submarine.
And today they're celebrating 50 years of serving Chicago by serving up 50 unique throwback commercials. We're talking with operating manager Dan Zumas about that and so much more. Dan, how do you make it to 50 years in Chicago?
Good morning. First of all, it's an honor to be on the show. Thank you for having me. Really, it's been a family effort since the beginning. It's always been a part of our success, and it's helped us stay grounded and focused and true to who we are.
So talk about some of your ads. They are very memorable to so many people. How'd you get people on board? And tell us about some of the folks that you did get to join you.
Okay, we partnered with Quality Meats, which is an ad agency, and the name is very fitting for our industry. But they were the architects of the campaign, and they were able to secure a lot of the local Chicago personalities and sports people. And so they pitched this idea for 50 commercials, which was way more ambitious than I anticipated. And they knew just what to do. Our commercials from the past have been corny and cheesy, and they said, let's lean into that. Let's go with that and keep doing weird.
Where can people see this array of 50 commercials?
They're on our website at mrsubmarine.com/50th anniversary. All 50 are posted there now. We're also going to be releasing them on social media sporadically throughout the year.
Coming up, a new discovery in outer space raises questions. Veterans roasters and their mission in Chicago. And a truly unique sausage joint in Lincoln Square.
And now there's a new nearly interstellar object that was just discovered, and we could think of no one better to explain it all to us and enlighten us on what's going on in a galaxy far, far away. Let's go ahead and bring in Avi. Thank you so much for being back with us.
Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Okay, tell us about this new discovery.
Well, on November 2nd, Gennady Borisov, an amateur astronomer, discovered an object near the sun that is actually barely bound to the sun. So it's almost interstellar, but most likely it came from the outskirts of the solar system, the Oort cloud. And that was surprising because that's around the time, the same week, that another interstellar object passed close to the sun, 3I Atlas. That one we are confident is interstellar because it was moving at 60 kilometers per second, very high speed, 600 times larger than the fastest car we have on Earth. The reason I know that is because I went to a NASCAR car race where the racer put 3I Atlas on the hood of his car, and I told him that's not a big compliment for 3I Atlas because it's already moving 600 times faster than your car can ever reach. But at any event, so 3I Atlas was definitely not bound to the sun. This new object appears to be barely bound to the sun, may have come from the outskirts of the solar system and was in a plunging orbit that got all the way close to the sun, and we just noticed it. Now, the interesting question is, could it have originated from 3I Atlas? Is it at all related to it? Because if 3I Atlas, for example, is a natural comet, it could have lost a fragment, a piece of it that was torn apart. If it is a mothership, a spacecraft, it could have on purpose released a probe into the inner solar system. So that's an interesting question. And turns out that this object has an orbit in a plane that is almost perpendicular to the plane of the orbit of 3I Atlas. So if we just use gravity to calculate its trajectory, it was definitely not related to 3I Atlas. The closest they got to each other is of order 100 million kilometers, so not very close. And so the two are unrelated. It's just a coincidence that two unusual objects showed up around the same time close to the sun. However, if it's a technological object, of course it could have maneuvered and transited between the two trajectories that appear to be distinct from each other.
Yeah, you know what it is? I'm trying to figure out my order here. You know what, Louis? A strawberry matcha. And thank you for your service, sir. A Marine veteran standing here with us. Yes, at Veteran Roasters Cafe, 161 North Clark. Such a great spot, nice and cozy and warm. And you know what? Since it's Veterans Day, not a lot of people walking by, which is perfect for us to show you guys off. So when people come to work later on this week, they can stop on by. I'm with Dion. Dion, you are the manager here. I know this is a loaded question, but tell us all that Veteran Roasters offers and how you guys also support local veterans.
So Veteran Roasters offer your typical day-to-day selection for breakfast, lunch. We're trying to cover all bases. Breakfast sandwiches, obviously your cup of coffee, matcha, tea, baked goods, sodas, just, you know, what you would typically find in a coffee shop, with more to come soon.
You know what, and you're a Navy veteran. I have to say thank you also for your service. But, you know, that's part of your mission, right? You have veterans working behind the counter, putting love into your drink, into your food, whatever you might order.
Yes, so the whole entire concept of Veteran Roasters Cafe and the whole entire company as a whole is to help as many veterans as we can. And me being one of the veterans that initially found the organization, I rose to the ranks and I run the day-to-day operations.
Oh, that's so awesome. It must feel good knowing that not only are you helping yourself, but you're also now advocating for others. Was that a big purpose of you joining the team here?
Yes, it was one of my purposes of joining the military, but that just doesn't stop once we take off the uniform. So we want to help others. This is a very amazing and very fulfilling way to help other veterans.
Okay, Dion, thank you so much for your service. Now, you talked about some of the cakes that are here. Who is it by? Brown Sugar Bakery. You might see them over at O'Hare Airport. You might also see this cafe over at O'Hare Airport as well. But we have Rose here. Rose, you're making our strawberry matcha. I know you're nice and busy. I do have to take a bite of the cake while we wait for Rose, but such a great place here, 161 North Clark, and a great cause also it's supporting. Rose, I might have you take a break real quick and tell us about the drink that you're making if you want to bring it over here.
This is a strawberry matcha latte made with fresh fruit, strawberry puree, and heavy cream. So you make the matcha, add the milk, and then you do a pour over like this.
Rose, how proud does it make you being the lead barista, having people come in, one, recognize that everyone behind the counter is, past military, but also probably thanking you along the way during your workday?
It actually is pretty awesome to know that every cup of coffee, every cake, everything that someone purchases here goes to help someone else. So to be able to have that opportunity and to be in that spotlight kind of, it makes really, really good.
Rose, I know you worked your magic with strawberry matcha. Thank you very much. All right, sorry. I got to get the straw. You guys have a live reveal of what it tastes like. I know it's going to be good because I've seen other people order, and that's what inspired me to also get in on this as well. All right, again, 161 North Clark Street here, downtown Chicago, Veteran Roasters Cafe. Such a nice, cozy spot. Right now, of course, Veterans Day, it's a little more quiet because not everyone's in and around the city, but I'm telling you, this place is popping during the weekdays. I've driven by, and they are hard at work in the back. Oh my gosh, it is good. Wow.
This place is absolutely gorgeous. We're here with my man, Derek. Derek is the son of Gene. Derek, I am in love with this place. You were kind enough to let us sort of go behind the scenes and see how the sausage was made. But, looking at all of this, one might not think perfect holiday gift, but it is, and this is actually your busiest season because of it.
It really is. It really is. I mean, nothing, says holidays more than food.
Exactly.
It brings you back to your being a kid or growing up or your mom making something. And so
look at all the, look at the sausages on the wall. Look at the meats right here in front of us. And this stuff is you guys. Now, do you mind if we kind of show off what you guys were cooking in the last hour?
Exactly. I definitely wanted you to try some of the stuff that we filmed earlier on today. This is going to be our andouille sausage.
And this is just what you showed us about 45 minutes ago.
Exactly. So give it a try, Jake.
I have to be completely honest with the people at home. Completely honest, guys. This is my third piece. And what did you say? There's nothing like it coming right out of the smokehouse.
Still steaming and hot and juicy. But we make all of this stuff on a daily basis. We make it on demand. We don't use preservatives in our meats. And we do it literally on demand. It's a lot of work. But that's what people expect from us.
And I want to talk about that. You look at the meats that you guys have here, and something about them, they just look fresh, and they just look like you guys just placed them right here. And a big part of that is the no preservatives thing. I mean, this is as clean eating in terms of regards to meat as you're going to get.
I believe so. I mean, the only thing that we would use is something that's been used for hundreds of years is smoking.
Sure.
Smoking is a natural preservative. We also add in a little bit of sea salt, but that's what's been used for hundreds of years, and we kind of continue that tradition here at Gene's.
And if someone's interested in maybe grabbing some food for Thanksgiving, grabbing something for dinner or for Christmas dinner, you don't want to wait to the last minute. I mean, you said you guys are going through how many different turkeys and things throughout this time of year?
We're continuing to take turkey orders. We have a small family farm that we work with outside in Minnesota. Really big. We go through 400 or 500 turkeys during Thanksgiving. Even bigger than that is we go through about 4,500 pounds of prime rib that we age here in-house 45 to 55 days, and we trim it just specifically for the holidays.
Now, listen, Derek, I'm working on Thanksgiving, so if you don't mind, I'm going to get your contact information, get it to the bosses at Fox, so we can go ahead and get set up for those of us that are working on Thanksgiving. We're good on that.
Not a problem at all.
All right, really quick, where can people come out and find you guys? Where can they get more information?
So we are located in Lincoln Square, 4750 North Lincoln Avenue, or you can visit our website at www.genesausage.com.
Love that. Derek, we appreciate you guys. Whatever's left is what I'm bringing back to you. I can't promise.
He keeps shaving off of what he's bringing back.
It'll be anything.
That's piece number 8, 9, 10.
Jake, that is the worst.
This has been your